Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, the person I first met in the corridors of cells in 1986 while fighting for democracy. I was picked as a suspect of the FARA movement then. And since we met, he looked at me and wondered how a police officer would handcuff a person on crutches. And we became friends. It is hard to put into words what Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga means to me, not just as a leader, but as a friend. I have seen in him strength that is silent, patience that does not waver, and a belief in people that never fades, even in times that are rough. Mr. Speaker, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga has carried the weight of Kenya on his shoulders more times than anyone should have done. Yet he still walked with hope, still laughed, still listened, and still dreamt of a Kenya that would live up to its promise of being a great nation. That kind of faith is rare. Mr. Speaker, sir, to me, Right Honorable Raila Odinga has been more than a political figure. He was a teacher of history, democracy, good governance, social justice in this country. He has always provided me with a shoulder to lean on and inspired in me resilience to overcome extremely challenging occasions. A mirror for courage, a role model for integrity and assurance that patriotism is not a slogan, it is a way of life. Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable Raila, his journey has inspired us to keep pushing, to keep believing, and to never trade truth for convenience. Thank you, Honorable Raila, for showing us what leadership looks like when it is grounded in love for the people and country. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Right Honorable Raila, I call him Baba, showed great love to persons with disabilities whom he constantly nurtured politically and helped them climb to their highest political heights both in Orange Democratic Movement Party and the Houses of Parliament. At a personal level, my family and I wish to record our most sincere appreciation for his assistance to me and my son at very difficult moments in our lives when we needed medical attention both inside and outside Kenya. After a fatal road accident involving me and my son in 2013, he mobilized and paid for the top neurosurgeons in the country to manage my son. Even when my nomination to the Senate was nullified, he stood by both morally and financially to date. This lasted for the period 2013 to the time of my current nomination to the National Assembly, which he wholeheartedly supported and facilitated, notwithstanding the fact that I came from a community that did not significantly support our party, ODM. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, sir, let me end by...
Give him 30 seconds to end.
Let me end by quoting the last message by Honorable Right Honorable Raila Odinga to me last Sunday, 12th October 2025 at 9:13 a.m., where he wrote, "Thank you, my brother, for standing with the party in Baringo. I will always cherish this personal affection and recognition. Fare thee well, my friend. Right Honorable Baba." Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you. Member for Bumula. Wamboka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It is indeed difficult to mourn a friend, a father, to all of us and to the nation. When my friend Wafula Buke called me yesterday morning of the passing of Raila Odinga, I did not believe, Honorable Speaker. It looked like a normal joke, April Fool's Day. It looked like something will happen and Raila Odinga will be back. It is very difficult. We mourn a very courageous man. I admired the courage of Raila Amolo Odinga from when I was a young boy. What Raila has been able to do for this country in very difficult times, Honorable Speaker. We remember him for liberating this country when no one could dare speak to the government, at the government. Raila Odinga did, and that is why we enjoy this peace that we have today democratically. I remember Raila's courage, Honorable Speaker. After election, we had maandamano. One day, one time, before we set out for the streets, Honorable Speaker, we were in a room with the other party leaders, now deciding which routes to use, Honorable Speaker. I remember one party leader said, "No, outside is bad. They are going to kill us." And it looked like all the other leaders were not ready to go that route. Raila Odinga told them, "You will find me there. Let me die if I have to die for this country." He was a courageous man. Honorable Speaker, Raila Odinga during campaigns came to campaign for me in Bumula constituency. And at that time, I was standing on DAP, my party DAP Kenya. There was an ODM candidate in my constituency. Raila Odinga instructed the Honorable Junet Mohammed to pull down the ODM candidate in my favor, Honorable Speaker. I know it has not been easy for many people to get any money from Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga supported my campaign with 3.5 million, Honorable Speaker. I am the chairman of PIC, Honorable Speaker, in this house because of Raila Amolo Odinga. I know I'm a first-time MP. I'm not a ranking member. I could not be the best. I may not be the best. But Raila Odinga saw it important and fit that I sit and chair PIC, Honorable Speaker. It is very difficult to mourn such a man. During the impeachment motion I sponsored against the Honorable Mythical Inturi, Honorable Speaker, it was not very easy. Being the first impeachment motion, post-2010 constitution, Honorable Speaker. It was a first in its kind. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know how to head. Raila Odinga gave me a lot of courage. Raila Odinga told me, "Young man, this is your first cup. I have so many cups. This is your first cup." He gave me lawyers to support me in the impeachment, Honorable Speaker. I want to believe that Raila Odinga.
What you're seeing are live pictures outside the Lee Funeral Home here in Nairobi, and now this is back to Mombasa Road, where we have the procession where the former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga's body is being moved fast. It's meant to go to the Lee Funeral Home, and after which his body is meant to be taken to Parliament, where he shall lie in state until later in the evening, as per the program. Then his body will later on be moved from there. So it's been quite an active and a busy morning at the JKIA especially. I believe it's been one of those that has been hard to even compare to any other in light of what, for instance, the security teams have had to go through. We've got all these mourners, the supporters of Baba, who have made their way to JKIA. They got into the airport, and it becomes a very tricky situation because you cannot tear gas them. You cannot have excessive force against them. It is not one of those situations where these are protesters, are mourners who have come to celebrate and mourn Raila Odinga, to escort him through his journey, and we expect to see quite an active next few days. And even just this afternoon, looking to see how much the program will be adhered to in terms of at the time when his body is meant to be at different places. We also have our teams at along the way, as well as in Parliament and also at Lee Funeral Home. And so, as you can see, there's some serious security at the Lee Funeral Home area that is here in Nairobi, not too far from, it's right next to the Nairobi Hospital, just for the benefit of those who may have the geography of Nairobi, not too far from Hurlingham. And so this is the next stop for the carriage. Then his body shall be taken in, after which he is then going to be transported to Parliament, where he shall lie in state. And it has been quite a morning, because we earlier on had pictures of President William Ruto alongside other leaders when they met, when they were receiving Odinga's body at JKIA. And you could see there was a lot of what seemed to be some negotiations, some discussions about what next. And you can see, just in light of the mass of people we are seeing here, as you can see on your screen, and just how, this is a reality that's sinking in for many. Some are saying that, they're yet to really be hit by the reality that Raila Odinga has passed on. Others say it has begun to hit them. And so every step of the way for some people is a new sort of awakening on them getting to know that Raila has actually gone. Just seeing his daughter, Winnie Odinga, in that solemn mood. You could see how she's holding on to her father's hat. When they were still in India, she was seen taking it and placing it on the casket, after which she still held on to it. The hat was placed on its own seat in the plane. And after that, she walked out of the plane carrying it, and you could just tell the general mood was quite low across the different individuals there. We also saw Mama Ida Odinga, who was also the JKIA, where President William Ruto, alongside a number of his cabinet members and other leaders, ODM party leaders, were discussing with her, speaking with her, and as we'd expect or imagine, condoling with her still. And we still have quite some activity happening in different parts of Nairobi as well, like Lee Funeral Home, where there are also people and there are groups and teams that are waiting for the carriage to arrive. And we've got people who are already, addressing the media as we speak. I know Trade CS, that is Lee Kinyanjui, is at Lee Funeral Home alongside Geoffrey Ruku and others, and they are speaking to the press. Aside from that, we already have the place where the late former Prime Minister's body is going to be laid as he lies in state. And it's likely going to be quite an emotional morning, emotional day, I should say, once that happens. And what you're seeing on the screen is in Mombasa, where we've been having a lot of this public mourning happening on the streets. And we've seen that from morning. So in Mombasa, which is ordinarily which historically and traditionally has been an ODM zone or a Raila Odinga support base, we could see how how they are also just responding to this development and just the fact that Raila Odinga has now rested. And so we are seeing Mombasa has been quite active when you compare with other parts of the country, some of which are yet to publicly show their have their show of grieving or mourning. And we do know that the Deputy President, Kithure Kindiki, who's also the co-chair of the Funeral Planning Committee, yesterday said that there will be different stations that will be put up for people to mourn and celebrate Raila Odinga in different parts of the country. And there is a whole program that has been set out in terms of what is going to be happening on each of these days. In the National Assembly, we have the members of Parliament. We have the members of Parliament giving their tributes, and some of them are actually getting a bit overwhelmed with emotion just because of the personal relationship they had with Raila Odinga. And for them, it has hit close home. You could hear some personal stories being shared in terms of what he did for them and what he has meant to them. Aside from that, we have also seen like I was saying at Parliament, where we have the place where Odinga's body shall lay in state, we have a choir that's singing there and is going to be just offering some solace and solemn space for the people who will be coming to view, because it's going to be, it's likely going to be quite an emotional and difficult time for many. And we believe that there are people who are going to be on the side, be it medics or just first aid teams, just to be there for those who may be who may be overwhelmed by grief, because grief can hit hard and it can it can actually manifest physically, as we've seen in many different instances. And so we keep monitoring the different places, including Bondo, Siaya County, where we are stationed. And aside from that, for now, let's first turn to what the trade CS Lee Kinyanjui is saying from Lee Funeral Home.
That we see in our country and the respect for Kenya democracy that we have had over the years. And many know that a lot of the things that Kenya does, even other countries in the region will follow suit. So Kenya becomes a pioneer, not only just in having elections, managing them, and also whatever other circumstances that come thereafter, he would put the country first. And for him, we really want to thank him. As you have said also, he would call out that which was not right. Even when it meant going against the grain, going against powerful forces, Baba knew what was good for Kenya, and he said it. But he also said it in a manner that respected the Constitution. So many of us will recall last year when we were going through situations, he stood out and said, we cannot allow our country to go that direction. And for that reason, we must seek solutions within the Constitution, within the laws of the land, so that we do not go away that tomorrow may be injurious to the whole country. And for that reason, the broad-based government was initiated, and we also want to thank him and the president for putting the nation first. And this is what makes Kenya different. This is what makes Kenya stable. And that's why even investments in Kenya are higher, because people believe that irrespective of the elections, Kenya will remain what it is now, 5 years, 10 years, and so on. That constitutional respect, that constitutionalism becomes very important, and we want to thank Baba. Lastly also is to mention that Baba had as much comfort in the red carpet space, in top diplomacy and protocols. He would go from one palace to the other, from State House to all the government offices. But also when it meant to go to the trenches, he would do it with such ease that one would almost not understand how he would be able to switch. And the truth is, both were necessary to make Kenya what it is today. So we celebrate him, we thank his family for the many personal and difficult sacrifices that they made, because everybody comes from a family, and these sacrifices sometimes are borne by the family. But I think we say, Baba, rest in peace. We'll forever remember your contribution to our nation. Thank you. Yeah, but let's manage that well. It's because of the... Let's manage it better.
Many times, Papa has chosen Kenya again and again over his political interests. We have seen many sacrifices that Papa has made for the sake of this nation. And we continue saying thank you for the service which he rendered to this nation. Kenya is standing tall among the communities of nation because of many contributions that many leaders have made, but the contribution that Papa has made stood out in a very big manner. Again, it's a difficult moment for the nation, and the memories of Papa can only be a blessing to all of us, if especially those who are in the executive are going to work extremely hard to ensure that the ideals of Papa, and for instance, the public service, we have to work as much, hard enough to ensure the public service of the Republic of Kenya serves the people of Kenya well. These are the ideals, the aspiration of Baba. And not only the public service, but all the sectors of our nation, of our country, of our government, so that the memories of Baba can be indeed a blessing for all of us. It is true that the family has made many sacrifices. We continue to thank the family, the Papa, Mama Inda, the sons and daughters of Baba, for the sacrifices also they have made to give Papa to Kenyans. So this moment, we continue to mourn and we continue to ask all Kenyans to remain calm. It's a moment for our nation to reflect on many things that Papa has done for this nation and to see how all those many things that Papa has made a sacrifice can be a blessing for all of us so that we can make our country even much, much better. With those remarks, I send my personal condolences to Mama Inda, to the family at this very delicate moment. We continue to stand with the family and we continue to stand with all Kenyans. And we are here at the funeral home as government representatives sent here by the President William Ruto to ensure that anything that's happening here is according to the plan as far as the government of His Excellency William Ruto has planned. And we are committed to ensure we give Papa the best befitting send-off as a hero, as a great son of our nation.
Let me also take this opportunity to convey my prayers to the family of the late Honorable Raila Odinga and the entire nation for this loss that is very devastating. I knew Baba for quite a long time myself at a personal level. I remember when I was the principal of a North Science Secondary School in Narok County, Transmara. He played a critical role in transforming the school by providing us computers and also supporting the construction of teachers' quarters. But above that, through the Raila Odinga Foundation, he was also able to touch the lives of very many children across the country who required educational support, bursaries, and not just that, but other humanitarian aspects. And so, aside from the political angle, which obviously has influenced the country, he had a touch on the children. He had a touch on the education of the people of Kenya, and also a touch on the humanitarian aspects that really helped the community. And so I remember him in a very special way personally, and he's such a magnanimous person who was always ready to forgive, but also who is ready to stand firm whenever the rights of the people, the needs of the people, and he always put the nation above self. So as we all mourn this great leader, let us keep on praying for his family, for the country, and even for peace and tranquility as we continue living this particular moment. I also join, therefore, on behalf of the State Department for Tourism and my principal secretary's colleagues, who are also, a number of them are already going to the airport and also in other areas, to ensure that we also join during this time of mourning. And I'm sure his legacy will live forever. What he has done will live forever. And let's continue praying for his family to be strong during this particular moment. And with that, I also send my condolences, personal condolences, and prayers during this painful time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was John Ololtua, the Principal Secretary, the State Department for Tourism, who was speaking after the CS for Public Service and Human Capital Development, that is Geoffrey Ruku, and the CS for Trade, Investment Industry, that's Lee Kinyanjui, who was speaking first. And what you have on your screens right now is outside Parliament buildings, where we are seeing there's a large crowd of Wananchi who are trying to make their way in, and there's effort not just by the security officials, but also by some legislators led there by the Deputy Speaker Gladys Boss, who is also the woman representative for Uasin Gishu County. And so it's looking like they are not waiting, so to speak. They're not waiting they don't want to wait until the gates are open. They want to jump in, and so I guess there's also effort to just try and contain, the pressures and the temperatures that are there. As you can imagine, like I'd earlier mentioned, it's a tricky kind of situation, because these are not people who are being unruly in terms of being violent or otherwise, but they are just people who are mourning. So it becomes also a tricky position to be for the security officials, and we shall be looking for. We shall be crossing over later on in this broadcast to Duncan Khaemba, who is at Parliament, and he will give us updates on what's happening there. The latest we had was within the past hour. The Speaker of the National Assembly, that is Moses Wetangula, had said that he was still expecting the body to be arriving at Parliament at noon, but we're not sure whether that is going to be happening in terms of the timeline, just looking at the pace at which the team, the group, or the courage that is coming from JKI is moving. And actually, we have Duncan Khaemba on phone now. Khaemba, good morning. We can see quite some activity at Bunge. Is there any update in regards to the viewing of Baba's body?
Yes, yes, indeed, the preparations are complete. The military police have taken position. The place where the body will be placed has already been set up. Parliament choir is already belting out the dirges here in Parliament. Section of members of Parliament, this drawn from both houses, streaming in one after the other. Of course, the National Assembly is already sitting. The members are still continuing to pay their tribute. However, as you said, the activity outside Parliament, Parliament Road now is in chaos, so to speak, because the supporters have, I think, beaten the security cordon that was initially placed at the Holy Family Basilica, formerly Intercontinental Hotel, and the Mausoleum roundabout. And now they have taken over Parliament Road. Initially the number was small, but now they are in their hundreds. We have those ones that have already perched on the Parliament gate, some are pushing, and now the paramilitary, the military, the state, the NYS, the Senate, the Sergeant at Arms, the plainclothes, they are trying to plead with them just to be patient. And they are wondering, actually, everybody, the whole thing has thrown everybody in a spin, because this is how things are right now. They are worried the moment the body will arrive here in Parliament, and then the viewing starting. Walking in the Parliament Garden towards now the Harambee Avenue Junction, Parliament Road, Harambee Avenue Junction. And the situation is the same. That is where Bunge Tower is, County Hall, Parliament Police Station, if you're getting that picture, and the entrance to the National Assembly. The crowds are equally teeming, they're overflowing, they are mourning, they are singing dirges, they are wailing, they are carrying twigs. It is quite a scene here, so to speak. So this is the situation right now. I was just about to drop a video, then the call came in, but nonetheless, we'll try and drop the video just to paint a picture of the situation as it is. But it is chaotic. It is chaos here, so to speak, Dan.
You in not too long. Thank you, Khaemba. We'll be coming back to you in not too long. And as you can see, Deputy President Kithure Kindiki is speaking on Mombasa Road. So let's listen in.
Na mtakubaliwa, mkubali watoto, mama na family. Tafadhali wafanyiwe heshima zao za mwisho.
Well, we seem to have a challenge with the feed from where DP Kindiki is speaking, but the gist of what he's doing, for the little we've had, is he's trying to tell the young guys, the mourners there, to just calm down and just allow for things to move in a bit of a more organized way. And you could see he was atop vehicle. He was also, should I say, flanked by Oburu Oginga, who is his co-chair in the funeral planning committee. And we are still getting reports that the president has yet to leave JKIA. He may not have been able to leave as soon as he wanted because of the traffic situation that has been occasioned by this group of mourners who have escorted Raila Odinga's body out of JKIA. Ideally, should be heading, should be heading to the Lee Funeral Home, after which it should then, per the program that was published, go to the National Assembly, where we've seen it's also getting a bit of chaotic, so to speak. And even after early on, we had pictures of Boss Sholei, Gladys Boss, I should say, the Deputy Speaker, trying to calm the people down there alongside other legislators such as Atendo Omolo. We have also seen now the Speaker, that is Moses Wetangula, has actually gone outside himself, to the out of the chambers where he was presiding over the sittings and the tributes being shared by the legislators, to go and also try and speak to those who are there, the different individuals who are seemingly trying to make their way into Parliament, and they're trying to really just calm them down. But it's quite a task when you've got this kind of an emotive situation that is happening. We are still yet to, we'll get back to Duncan Kayamba to just try and find out whether there is any report of any change of venue, if as we are seeing some kind of murmurs online about that, and we are going to confirm that. So for now, we don't have any confirmation in regards to any change of the location of the viewing of the late Raila Odinga's body. But so as it stands, what we know is that it should be happening at Parliament. But if and when we do get that information, we shall update you. And besides that, there was a statement that was released by the Kenya Civil Aviation Authority, that's KCAA, who pretty much, when you've got an aircraft or anything in the air, they are in charge. Once the airport's on the ground, then it is KAA, the Kenya Airports Authority. So KCAA has released a statement regarding the situation at the airport. And let me just read. It says, Kenya Civil Aviation Authority informs the public that operations at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA, have been temporarily suspended due to an ongoing security situation following the arrival of the remains of the late Right Honorable Raila Odinga, the former Prime Minister of Kenya. A large number of mourners gained access to restricted areas, prompting a precautionary closure to allow security teams to restore order and ensure safety. Members of the public and travelers are advised to remain calm and avoid the airport area until further notice. Normal operations will resume once the airport is declared secure in the next 2 hours. A notam of the same has been issued, and KCAA says it regrets any inconveniences and appreciates the public's understanding and cooperation. Now, that was put out on the social media at 11 a.m. That's about 26 minutes ago. Just about 26 minutes ago, they said that operations at JKIA have been temporarily suspended due to an ongoing security situation following the arrival of the remains of Raila Amolo Odinga. And this, they further say, is that a large number of mourners gained access to restricted areas, prompting a precautionary closure to allow security teams to restore order and ensure safety. So what we are seeing there are shots at Bunge, where we have the young guys there who have been trying to get access into Bunge. We can see Embakasi East MP Babu Owino, who's also trying to address them using a public address system. I believe just trying to contain the situation, just so we can, so that to try and have some order restored. And so it's quite a day in Nairobi, right from the airport to the Lee Funeral Home area, as well as the Parliament precincts. And so we are also looking to see what's happening in different parts of the country, Mombasa, Bondo. Again, we are still monitoring what's happening at Lee Funeral Home, which is ideally the immediate destination of the carriage that is bearing the remains of Raila Amolo Odinga. We have Ruth Sarmue, who is in Bondo. This is Raila Odinga's home. Ruth, good morning. Has Bondo been as active as Nairobi? Because I'll tell you, Nairobi has been and still is very active. How are things going back at Baba's home area? I think we've had a challenge with Ruth Sarmue's phone connection, but we shall try and get her once again. But we have Duncan Khaemba still on the line. And Khaemba, we are seeing mamas and some informal communication around saying that the viewing of the viewing of Raila Odinga's body is no longer going to be at the at the Parliament ground, at Parliament I should say, but is allegedly being moved to Kasarani. Do you have any communication or confirmation on the same?
Well, no communication on the same. Those are mamas that are gaining momentum here, or what you can say, the rumors so far. But what I can confirm to you is that from where I'm standing with my colleague Paul Nabiswa, we can see the clerk of the National Assembly has moved in. The crowds have demanded that Embakasi East Member of Parliament, Babu Owino, comes and addresses them. Babu Owino has come and called for a public address system. He had to perch on the gate and try to convince some of them who were able to come down to actually disembark from the gate. I can also see Rarieda Member of Parliament, Otiende Amolo. He has also climbed the gate. They are trying to fix a public address system and try to address the crowds, but it is a pandemonium here that is reigning. Everything has come to a standstill. I think even members have left the chamber. The National Assembly members, I think some have left the chamber. I can confirm, I can see the clerk is over there. I can see the GSU. They've taken their position slightly behind the gate. The Parliament orderlies, the NYS, everybody, it is all hands on the deck. But the crowds, the mourners, they are not budging an inch. So we are yet to know what will happen. The question, with regard to the question you have asked, that would be a very tricky affair because the proclamation made was that this, and rightly so because of the stature of Raila Odinga having been the former Prime Minister, he is supposed to lie in state. That means his body has to come and be placed at the Parliament foyer for viewing, and then the tributes be made from the floor of the House and what's taught. So if they will have to move, then it means there will be something to do with that because now another communication will come in. But as I say, extraordinary moments will always call for extraordinary measures. Maybe that could be what might be actually the reasonable step to take. However, ask yourself the logistics. Because the military is here, had already laid the plan, the ground, they've done everything. Moving to Kasarani, in as much as there's that notion of military precision and looking at the time factor, we are not so sure whether that would be the solution, but maybe that circumstances might just dictate that one takes place. However, as it stands, no communication so far if the body will be moved, the viewing will be taken to Kasarani. But I can confirm that I can see Narok Senator Ledamo Lekina, he is pulling his hair left, right, and center, so to speak. That is just an indication that things are fixed. His hair is always standing, and now you can imagine he's continuously pulling it because it's chaos. I can see the leadership of Parliament. They are now walking back. I can see Deputy Speaker Gladys Boschole walking into the Parliament buildings. I can see a host of orderlies also in tow, so we are not so sure whether they are going to retreat. From where I can see, from where I stand, I'm also able to see a Lagos Songa Member of Parliament and Budget Committee Chair Sam Matani. All these are actually trying to plead with the supporters or the mourners to step down. I can also see the National Assembly Majority Whip Silvana Sosoro on phone. There are a flurry of calls that are being made in the left, right, and center, but it is chaos here. It is chaos. It doesn't look good. As we speak, I can see two youngsters have now passed to the apex of the main parliament gate, and they are continuing now. The numbers are again swelling. Remember, as I said, Babu Owino, the requested Babu Owino, he came, he talked to them. Some had disembarked. They are still going. I can see the Rieda Member of Parliament, Otiende Amolo, is still patched there. He's trying to plead with those these guys, but nobody seems to be listening. It is just chaos. They are now shaking the main parliament gate. So it is a matter of wait and see. Maybe it's just a matter of minutes before the gate comes down, because we are now witnessing